President Obama says the U.S. will respond. Among the options on the table are sanctions or an offensive cyber attack. But there is no historical precedent to draw on as the administration tries to avoid an all-out cyber war. Tony?
Jeff, really great reporting, and there's one piece of it that I want to pull out in particular. You reported that the hacks increased in frequency after they were first discovered, and presumably after President Obama warned Putin to cut it out. What does that tell us about Russia's intentions here? Did the target change? Was it nose thumbing or thumbing one's nose at President Obama? What do we know?
Well, you know what? That's exactly what I asked my sources, both intel and law enforcement. And what it says is that this is a pretty brazen activity. And this is the type of activity where it shows that the hackers carrying out this operation, they wanted to get caught. They wanted people to know that they were there and they were hacking and breaching these systems. So this was a pretty brazen act. And it is something, as you now know, that continued. And the real concern here is, among law enforcement sources that I speak with and intel sources that I speak with, is that there is damage that may have been done, but we may not find out about it for another 6 months or so. So there is concern that there has been widespread damage and the hacking has continued, even though that they have been exposed, and it's still causing concern that there may be more breaches along the way that U.S. intel and law enforcement officials will soon find out about.
Interesting. And we now also know that FBI Director James Comey backs the CIA's report that Russia interfered specifically in order to help Donald Trump win the 2016 election. If the FBI is now on board, does that mean that in their investigation they've uncovered something concrete, some kind of evidence?
Well, it certainly means that they're now all on the same page. You know, you've been following this story, and earlier this week we were getting indications that they weren't on the same page, that there were disagreements. But that's why this statement today that was essentially leaked to the media was really so interesting. You know, it was an internal memo at the CIA to employees that was leaked to the media, and there was a reason why it was leaked. They want the public to know, as ahead of this press conference from the president, they wanted the public to know that all of the agencies were on board, and there was this consensus, that there was high confidence here, that not only was this Russia trying to influence the election, but it was also Russia trying to influence the election and help Donald Trump. So this was these three agencies essentially coming together, the heads of these agencies coming together and coming out with this consensus so they can move forward with the same message. Now, the FBI, they told us late today that there was never any disagreement. But that's not what we were hearing earlier this week.
Now, President Obama has called for an additional investigation beyond what the intelligence community has already conducted into these hacks, and he wants it done before he leaves office on January 20th. But on Friday, we heard from the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee who said they're not getting the information they need from the intelligence community to roll out this investigation in a timely fashion. What does that tell you about how smoothly or not so smoothly this investigation is going?
Well, listen, it depends on who you talk to. I mean, there are some members of Congress who are not happy about how all of this is unfolding. But if you look at it from the perspective of law enforcement and the intelligence agencies, they feel like there is sensitive, classified information here that they just can't go and share with members of Congress. Now, there has been some contact with some members of Congress, but overall they have not been briefing, according to our reporting, they have not been briefing some of these members of Congress. And so it really depends on who you talk to. Everything, as you know, these days is viewed through a political lens. And so there are some members of Congress who are not at all happy with how all of this has unfolded. But again, there is that review out there. And that's another reason why these agencies are saying we can't brief you right now, because we still have this review that is outstanding that the president wants completed before he leaves office.
All right. The indispensable Jeff Pegues for us in Washington. Jeff, thank you very much.
Thanks, Tony.